This lesson is on a parrot, and we're going to do a close-up view of a parrot today. And in class, we have fourth graders here that are going to help us and give us some examples in the very end. So we'll see 2 or 3 of your artwork in the very end after we finish our parrot. So would you like to say hello to YouTube? Hello! Okay. Hello. So now we're going to start thinking about our parrot. And we're going to be good listeners at 0 level. And we're going to think about our parrot and the placement on the page. And you can see how I have my page here. And if you look at the eyeball, it's almost in the center of this page. So if you go to your center, this is actually my center right here. So if I go to my center, what I'm going to do, here's my center with my finger, is I'm going to draw the parrot's pupil. A small circle. Now look, it's almost as wide as my fingernail. And I'm going to color that in, a solid color. Now eventually this will be colored in black. So if you're using another pencil or another color marker, you can recolor that in black later. Once you have that colored in a dark color, then go ahead and trace around this real close to the edge. And it's going to kind of look like a donut. And it's okay. Look, mine isn't perfectly shaped. It's a little lopsided, see it? But that's okay. You know, in nature, you're not going to get anything real perfect. So we have a donut-looking eyeball. Now for this shape, this parrot, he's kind of bent down. His head is tilted down. So look, I'm going to go put a short line diagonally above. This is on the left. Look, it's like I'm drawing an X through the eye, but I'm doing it behind. And it's a short line in the back. Just a short line. And then I'm just going to connect this. Connect and connect. It's just going to give some curves and connect and connect. It's just going to give some detail in here to this shape, the lid shape. Now from there, I'm going to make a diagonal line. Look, it's a little bit bigger than the width of my eyeball. And it's a diagonal line. And I'm going to go right around the eye very close. And I'm doing it kind of in this wiggly curving line here. It's kind of like giving a free-form edge to this. Just go slow and then bring it right back in. So I'm kind of like making a circular shape around this. But I don't want a perfect circle because this is like the edges of the feathers. What we've just made here is, look, the white of this eyeball. You see it? The white detail. Okay. And from here, I'm going to go curve up just a little bit. It's a slight curve. And down, I'm going to go down with a slight curve in. Look, I'm going down, but I'm curving in and back. So it's a line down with a slight curve. Where this meets this area, and this is going to be the white area, I'm going to come out straight. I'm starting to form the beak, the hook of the beak. So I'm coming diagonally straight first. Then I'm going to slowly down and hook. So down with a curve. And then from here, I want a really sharp point, so I'm going to come up very narrow, and then I'm going to connect it to here, and go slow so you connect. So this is forming the top beak of the bird. Now I'm going to form the bottom beak. And I'm just going to come down now a little bit straight. So right now it's bigger than 2 fingers here. You want this bottom, the bottom bill, you want to come, see where your hook is? You should have a little hook and a point. You want your bottom bill, you want it to hook over, and it's shorter than the top bill. And the bottom bill has a slight curve to the bottom here. So I'm going to come here and curve over and up. Now look, this didn't meet, so I'm going to make it meet, because I want to make sure I have this bottom beak correctly drawn in. So this is the bottom part of the beak, top part of the beak. Now underneath here we're going to get another color feather. So we're going to do this kind of free-form line, which is going to form some yellow rows of yellow feathers. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to bring it over to meet, and it's going to be kind of just a free-form line here. You don't want it to be a perfectly straight line to meet the bottom beak. Now my head, I want to space it so that, you see the headline? It comes off the beak, and it's pretty much equal amounts here, and then where it meets the yellow, it's going to get wider, okay? So as it comes around the head, let's jump up, say a finger or two. This is 2 fingers, and I'm going to mark it. I'm going to go to this side and mark 2 fingers so that I can get a nice curve. So now I'm going to come off of the beak. These are just my guidelines. And I'm going to come down, curve, curve, curve till I meet the beak. Go slow because you can overshoot this. You can go right up and past the beak. And then I'm going to do the same here. I'm just connecting for my guidelines. This is so I get a nice rounded top to that head. And this arch, I'm just going to continue with this curve. Now remember, it's going to get wider where it meets the yellow down in here. So I'm going to jump out, and I want to do it a little bit wider. Wider. See how his head's getting wider? And I'm going to continue with this arch till I meet the edge of the page. I'm going to continue with a nice arch. So it's a continuous line with a nice curve. You don't want to have any funny bumps back here. And then directly under, oops, I lost myself here. And directly under here now, we're going to do his chest. We're going to come down. So I'm going to come down a little bit into this yellow. I'm going to come down with a small line. And then I'm going to flare out just a hair. I'm not doing it down straight, just starting to come out and meet the end. So now I have a really great composition. It fills up most of the page. You can see my edges here. And this is where you can be creative and add your own background, jungle, forest, bird cage, however you want to design this. The beaks are dark, so when you're ready to color in, I mean, you can do it any color. You could even color this purple, depending on your imagination and how you want to do this. If you want to do it realistically or what. But what I want to do is now, look, this is this detail in here around the eye. And it kind of looks to me like a tiger stripe or zebra stripes. And I'll show you how to do that. This is the area which will remain white. And so what I do is I come off of an edge and do a free curve line. And then I do what's called a gradation. It goes from a darker area and it gradually goes into a narrow area. And you can even go from dark to light in a gradation of color, or this is like a thick to thin. So it's kind of zebra-y or tiger. You don't want to do it straight lined, but thick to thin. And you can make these in various areas in here. And this is just some dark coloration in feathers around his eye area in this particular bird. So you can add that in. And now I'm going to add the feathers. This yellow area is smaller feathers in here. And your feathers can be like the letter, if you do it like a letter J, look at this. See, it's a hook. You could do it like the letter J. Or I prefer to do it the opposite, this kind of a U curve. Either way, and do it they're almost the size of your finger. So these are smaller feathers in here. And then this area, so this is one color area in here. So even if you chose to do this pink and not blue, like my example, and then you did this another color, but you want to have it so that this area is one color, this area is another color. And then these are going to be longer feathers. And you're just going to continue this. Now, you're not going to put 100 feathers in here, but just continue it so you have your pattern of feathers. And this is how you make your feathers. It's kind of like that backwards J line, a little line on this side. You don't even have to meet. And a little line in the center just to add detail. longer feather lines. And if you put a few of these in just to give texture, you don't need, like I said, lots. You can even put these in after you color it. That's up to you. Or what's neat is even if you did this in oil pastel, these outlines, and then painted over this. Or if you want to color it all in first and then do some markers, you could do it in 2 different values of color. Here what I did was I colored this in with markers, put my black lines, added some different values. I did light green and dark green. Then I took just a paintbrush with water and went over this. And the water blended my markers. And the same thing here, I added a little bit of sky with a marker, added water on top, and it made my sky melt in. So at home, if you don't have paints, you can do that easily. Now look, just a few light curved lines here. You don't have to draw all the feathers in. And small, small, small at the top, following this curve. These are longer, longer, and then short, short, small, small. And if you want to put a little bit of a hole in this area here, like a vent hole, and then when you're coloring in the beak, leave a hair of white in between. Look at this. That way you can see the top bill and the bottom bill. I left a hairline of white. And you could do your beak any, however you're going to color this or paint it. And there we have our parrot. If you look here, you can even change the shape. Say if you don't like this beak exactly. As I'm looking at it, I think I want mine a little bit thicker here. I want him to be a little bit more powerful. So look, you can change the shape easily. A lot of times kids will say, oh, it's a mistake, I'm not doing it. If you change the shape, no big deal, because look, I'm coloring it in anyways. I'm going to color it in black. So when I color this in black, and I would use a fatter, thicker thicker marker to color it in. But look, my mistake beak is gone. So if you need to adjust this beak, I like it much thicker than what I drew in the originally. So right now you can see it looks better. Okay, so you can adjust that beak and fix it as you like. I want to keep my line over here. Now, I'm going to take a few minutes now, or a few seconds actually, and I'm going to have my 4th graders show me their examples real quick, and then you'll be able to see at home what 4th graders made. I'm just going to grab one real close to me, right here, and I'll grab this one, and I'll show you what 4th graders did today. And how old are you? 4th graders, how old are we today? 10? So I got some, so their ages 10 and 11. And look how awesome their birds came out. And 9, so we got a big variety here. And like I said, there's 32 of them in this room. And this one, look how, that's awesome. That came out cool. And, we're going to add background to this. And you did a good job. All right, you want to say goodbye? Goodbye.